Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Josh Poet with you. First Contact Radio. Welcome to the show. All right, let's start off with our dream spell date for today. White crystal mirror, guided by the dog. White crystal mirror, guided by the dog. White, color of refinement. Crystal tone, tone number 11. It's called the crystal tone of cooperation. And the symbol for today with the daykin is the white mirror. The guide for today is the dog. The mirror is all about endlessness. The dog is all about heart and love. The phrase for today is I dedicate in order to reflect universalizing order. I seal the matrix of endlessness with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of heart. And on the Gregorian calendar it is Tuesday, October 18th, 2011. All right, so I hope you're doing well today out there in the world. Yesterday, as you know, we were waiting to see if we were going to have any fallout from Comet Elenin, but we have not. No big rock hit our planet. We haven't had a natural disaster that wiped us out, and we are still here. So either we were never meant to get hit, or we are now living on borrowed time. One way or the other, we are here. And you know who else is here? Dirk Bradshaw. And Dirk has a story today about the Fed. So here he is. Dirk, over to you.
Boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time for the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight, through the management of currency and interest, the Federal Reserve attempts to keep banks secure. But some believe it has another purpose. A dark, sinister purpose. Tonight, the Cosmic News Network investigates the Fed. Stay tuned. You're going to want to know this.
And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives?
Here are the facts. The Federal Reserve is one of the most important institutions in the United States. Through the management of currency and interest rates, the Fed attempts to keep banks secure. Since 1913, the Federal Reserve has conducted business constitutionally assigned to Congress. That's a lot of responsibility. Why does the Fed have it? In 1910, a group of international bankers left New Jersey with Senator Nelson Aldrich in a train headed for Jekyll Island. This was a gutsy move on Aldrich's part. After the Panic of 1907, associating with Wall Street was political suicide. They called it a hunting trip, but the real purpose of the meeting was the formation of laws to govern U.S. currency. This was a tricky proposition. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution states that Congress should coin U.S. money. Additionally, the Founding Fathers condemned central banking. At Jekyll, the bankers and Aldrich created the core of the Federal Reserve Act. In one fell swoop, this act created the Fed and put it under the President's approval rather than that of Congress. In 1913, the Federal Reserve was born despite opposition and controversy. Critics say that allowing bankers to write financial laws is a conflict of interest. On the other hand, who knows more about banks than bankers? Today, the Fed calls itself a decentralized banking system. It's composed of 12 banks, each serving a different part of the U.S. These 12 are composed of other member banks. The Fed is unique in the legal world. It isn't owned by the U.S., and its leaders aren't elected by U.S. citizens. Officially, the Fed is owned by these member banks, but what does that mean exactly? Here's where it gets crazy. Many people believe the Fed is more than a mild-mannered group of bankers. They say it might be part of a plan to take over the world. These sources think a group of banking families have undertaken a conspiracy spanning generations with the goal of creating a worldwide feudal society. This is not a surprising accusation. After all, international bankers are one of the conspiracy world's favorite boogeymen. The Rockefellers and Rothschilds have been accused of thousands of conspiracies, from stealing UFOs to heading satanic cults. When conspiracy theorists talk about the bankers as a group, they usually refer to them as members of the Illuminati. You've heard of this group before, the shadowy puppet masters allegedly responsible for everything from the Cold War to crack cocaine. But if this group is so powerful, then why would it need a bank? Theorists say that untraceable money is the key. This way, the group can support both sides of wars and engineer catastrophes like the Great Depression. Conspiracy theorists think the elites manipulate the economy toward a breaking point. Once the system breaks, the group will supposedly create a one-world government. They're allegedly banking on the idea that distressed people throughout the world will welcome any kind of authority. If the Fed is aware of its negative image, it hasn't done much to correct it. Consider the Fed's apparent immunity in U.S. courts. Precedents set in other cases, such as the ruling preventing the NRA from conducting a government function, apparently don't set precedents that apply to the Fed. So why is the media hesitant to examine the Federal Reserve or the laws surrounding it? Is it too boring for prime time? Or is something else going on behind the closed doors of America's moneymakers? Something that they don't want you to know.
I like Earthwomen. I've always been very, very attracted to them. A lot of my friends from my home planet, they don't agree with me, but there's something about you hairless apes that just really drive me wild. And especially American women. There's something about, that steady diet of deep-fried foods and McDonald's that does something to a woman. It just... I like it. I like a big, big woman. I'll be the first to admit it. I like the softness of their skin. I love the smell of bacon that when they sweat. It's just, there's nothing like it. And I think that was reason number 2 of why I decided to stay here on the planet Earth. That American women would get to this point. And, all good things happen to those who wait. Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions. But these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing. What they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, Big Brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. One if by land and two if by sea. And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is the UFO news for today. All right, our first story. I'm over here at YouTube. End Destination Unknown. NDU, I believe, is the tag he uses. It says UFO mothership. Skeptics prepare to be silenced. All right, so if you're a skeptic out there, I'm going to play this. Prepare to be silenced, it says. Let's find out. Let's find out what is about to happen. Here we go. Alright, what we got going on here, as you can see. Alright. In the middle of the clouds here, you can see lights right in this area here. See how there's like a triangle pattern? My guess is that that is exactly what is being referred to when he says UFO mothership. Because it definitely does show up, and you'll see in a bit it does disappear. So we only see it for a short period of time. And you see the lights fade out, and you see that there are multiple other lights around it, perhaps coming off of the mothership. Alright? That's our first sighting. Moving right along, our next one. Let's come back to this one. This one here is a UFO flying next to the ISS, International Space Station, for those of you who are wondering what those initials stand for. Latest UFO sightings. This unknown bright object was recorded from the International Space Station on Monday, October 17th. Any idea what this object is? Alright, folks, look closely. We are going to see this together for the first time. Alright, apparently this is one of the panels that goes off of it, looking out into space here. So I'm going to zip through it a little bit. I'm guessing this is it. There's something showing up out here now. On the right hand side of the screen, you see it gets a little brighter. And definitely getting brighter. Maybe the light shining on it now at this point. And it's there. There seems to be something back here that looks reddish off the end of it. I don't know what that is. If that's an indication that it's attached to something and it's just... Alright, now it's gone. So, that was quite interesting. Not certain what that one is, but you can check it out. FirstContactRadio.com. It'll be on the right-hand side, UFO News. You can watch the whole video. Now, this is Ukraine. This is a sighting that took place there. It says, first I thought it was simply a sunset, but you can see two suns as the video goes on. Alright. Let's look. Okay. Alright, there's one sun there, and he says we're going to see two suns. I'm not quite certain where this other sun is that he's looking at. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's the second thing right here. That one's quite bright. Looks a bit bigger. Okay, there's one there, and the other one down here. Pulling back in a little different view at nighttime here. Alright. They're still out there. Alright, so either that they were seeing two suns out there, or it was a very bright object in the sky. Alright, then we have one more here. says UFO news, fireballs over Bedford, Massachusetts. This is from UFO-blogger.com. Article goes on to say that I thought this sighting was unique, but I learned this was happening all over the world. On Sunday night, October 11, 2011, we saw 25 alien spacecraft near Buttonwood Park in New Bedford, Bristol County, Massachusetts, when we first saw 5 fireballs in the sky. These dazzling fireballs displayed some patterns of symmetrical movement. He immediately called my wife and me so we went outside to observe. Sure enough, the objects were flying over our house, single file. My son rushed home, and we all observed the phenomenon together. A new alien craft would appear just over the western horizon about every 30 seconds. Each appeared as an orange and red fireball. The size of these fireballs was about the same size as your pinky fingernail if you stretched your arm out in front to view it. Most of the fireballs traveled in a single file on the same line of sight, same line in the night sky. We could see a list of 3 or 4 of them in line at a time that kept coming. They would move past us and on to the rendezvous point just above the eastern horizon, where the group of 2 or 3 of them would congregate and then disappear together as a group. We shared 2 sets of binoculars while viewing. On one occasion, we saw a few of them slow down to congregate in a group of 5. They collectively made symmetrical patterns, played tag with each other, then continued on their eastern destination, as if to stop to put on a show like a marching band stops performing a parade. We also saw one of the fireballs turn white and hover above an orange one at their eastern rendezvous area. The 2 merged, then disappeared together. The last ship disappeared at about 8:10 p.m. We did not get a chance get a picture or video, but I found plenty of videos and pictures of the objects on the internet. Alright, this is not the actual object, so we're not going to play it. And that is our UFO news for today. Several good stories. You can check them all out on our page, firstcontactradio.com. Right hand side, UFO news. That's it. Let me jump to a song. I will be back momentarily, and we're going to continue on with more information. Stay tuned.
Headline edition, July 8th, 1947.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw it. Up above the clouds, it was a silver shiny disk floating high above the ground. Then I saw them waving to me. It was E.T. and his family. Something happened up the street from the ground. The sky at the shop, the UFO down. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
The Army Air Force has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw a UFO shot down. It was a silver shining disc broken in pieces on the ground. Then I saw them lying there, bodies scattered everywhere. Something happened. A military show picked up the pieces and the case was closed. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio.
One day, as I was looking to the sky, I began to think for myself, what if another ship comes down to take E.T. home? Then it occurred to me, maybe this is Earth's destiny. Something like this won't happen anymore. No more missiles.
Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
All right, that was Roswell. Roswell. Group is Euphoetry. That's my group. All right, continuing on here. Continuing on. Space weather. Check it out. See where we're at today. 600 mysteries in the night sky. The Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope recently produced a map of the night sky. Out of 1,873 new sources, nearly 600 were complete mysteries. In today's story from Science and NASA, researchers speculate on the nature of the mysterious object, including the possibility that they are made from dark matter. Let's get to that story in a minute. While we're here, let's check out our conditions. Solar wind is only at 381.7 kilometers per second. Our planetary K index is at 0 today, expected to be no more than a 2, and our forecast chance for a M-class flare is only in the 30% range today, and very, very, very small chance we're going to have a X-class flare. And as you could see down here, our geomagnetic storm activity is also very low, 10% chance. Alright, so now let's go check out this story here. Today's story says that Fermi team recently released the second catalog of a gamma ray sources detected by the satellite's Large Area Telescope, LAT. Of the 1,837 sources found, nearly 600 are complete mysteries. No one knows what they are. Gamma rays are by their very nature heralds of great energy and violence. They are super energetic form of light produced by sources such as black holes and massive exploding stars. Gamma rays are so energetic that ordinary lenses and mirrors do not work. As a result, gamma ray telescopes can't always get a sharp focus enough to determine exactly where the sources are. For 2/3 of the new catalog sources, the Fermi scientists can, with at least reasonable certainty, locate a known gamma ray producing object, such as a pulsar or a blazar, in the vicinity of the gamma rays they're coming from. But the remaining third, the mystery sources, have the researchers stumped, at least for now, and they are the most tantalizing. Some of the mystery sources could be clouds of dark matter, something that's never been seen before, speculates Thomson. About 85% of the gravitational mass of the universe is dark matter. The stuff we see makes up the rest. Dark matter is something that pulls on things with the force of its gravity but can't be detected in any other way. It doesn't shine, doesn't emit or scatter light, hence the adjective dark. Astronomers can detect dark matter directly using optical or radio telescopes, but dark matter just might shine in gamma rays. We've been using Fermi to search for dark matter for a long time, says principal investigator for the Large Area Telescope, Peter Michelson of Stanford University. Some researchers believe that when two dark matter antiparticles bump into each other, they will annihilate, producing gamma rays. Concentrated clouds of dark matter could form a gamma ray source at specific wavelengths detectable by Fermi. Alright, very interesting indeed on what's going there with gamma rays and the research up in space. Now, out on Wall Street, the protesters are still going on. As a matter of fact, all around the country there's protests taking place. America is waking up. I am glad to see that America is waking up, because for a long time America has been very apathetic. There's been a handful standing up while most just sit around. And now that people have opened their eyes and have seen the things that so-called conspiracy theorists have been seeing for years, they're actually getting angry about it and taking to the streets. It's about time. It's about time that these people got angry. We're only wondering when it would be that something was going to get your attention enough, and this has done it. So, good for all the people who are standing up. That's very important. Now, the next step in all of this is to figure out what exactly is the objective, because the mainstream media is going to continue to paint things in a bad picture. You got to expect that. But you have to look ahead. What is the objective of all of this? There are so many different things people are angry at. Is it possible that there is going to be one list of grievances that are going to actually get any fair media play? I don't know. It just depends on how coordinated the efforts are at each location and the press that is there willing to do anything with it, the mainstream media press, that is. Because there's a lot of, I'm sure, independent sources out there. We read it, I'm reading to you news about it every day, but that's not making the big headlines on the mainstream like the mainstream news. So we need some of them to have a bit more integrity on what they do. Now, RT, they are a station that Russia Today, they have an English version, and they do pretty good at getting information out there. Apparently they're doing so good that they happen to be one of these stations that are talked about as dangerous because they put out too much truth. And that's not good, because Fox News and CNN and MSNBC, they don't want you to know the truth. They want you to stay in the dark. That is why they continuously make sure they lie to you. But they always tell you how fair and balanced they are and how that they are telling you the truth. And, well, that's not really the case. I would challenge you, take out a pen and paper, pencil and paper, whatever you prefer. Write down the stories that Fox News, CNN, or MSNBC tells. Write down what they say. Write down a few of the details and go look online and see if you can find confirmation of their stories. And I will guarantee you that each and every day you will find lies on each of the stations, mistruths, whatever you want to call it, but you will find information that is not check out, and you will then wonder to yourself, how is it that you, with your ability to go on the internet, can go and check out a story and confirm whether it has any validity or not? And how does a major station like Fox or NBC or CNN, how do they miss such little details? And then after you get past that, you might realize that they're not looking for the details because they really don't care. The people that are on the screen reading the news are just reading the news. They're not actually talking to you. Because if they had to do that, well, who knows what they might say. So you'll notice they're all reading teleprompters to make sure they give you the right information. All right. Now, continuing on from there, let's go check and see what RT has to say. This deals with the protests and, more specifically, Anonymous.
Hundreds of published magazine articles. Throughout my life, I've been a literature junkie. My mother graduated from MSU with a degree in English literature and read Shakespeare to me to get to sleep when I was a little kid. I get high from reading Hemingway the way other people get off on watching the Super Bowl or seeing the space shuttle take off. What does that have to do with Zuccotti Park and all this? Well, today, a piece of truly brilliant literature, put to music and pictures, came into our world that I just have to share with you. It combines my personal two passions, literature and grassroots political action, and comes from people you and I may never know or meet. It's a message to the people of New York City, and frankly, I'd argue to people of every city where an Occupy mission is being undertaken, from the group that goes by the name Anonymous.
This is a message from Anonymous to the people of New York City, Wall Street, and members of the protest. We are crowding your streets. We are filling its veins. This might be painful, but you will not open your eyes, so we have been forced to dilate them. This is your protest. Welcome your new neighbors, for they choose to sleep on the streets for you. They choose to open their mouths when you are too exhausted. They are your brothers. They are here for your benefit. They are young. They are the children of the internet. They are Generation Zero. They are taking their future back into their hands. They are reviving the country you have long left to rot and wither. Never forget this. Treat them with kindness. Nod your heads in respect to them. Give them water. Shake their hands. The smallest gratitude will incite them. Wall Street, 4 years ago you saw that the country was brittle. You saw that it was ripe for the taking, and so you did. You shattered the country, and you collected the fragmented pieces to line your pockets. We stand here, united and strong, 4 years later. We stand before your butcher block, before your slaughtering house. Did you think that the people would not come to know what you have done? You sit before your trading screens, before your analysis. You are the players of the game, and you play very well. You rig the game even better. You care very little for the lives of average Americans, mere pawns. But you have strongly misread the world. Your complete lack of compassion for your fellow man has left you with a grave error. The game is over Wall Street. You forget that a poor man will slit your belly to eat what you have already eaten. Can you hear us, Wall Street? Can you hear our racket, Goldman Sachs? Can you hear the defiant beating of our drums? Keep trying to belittle us pundits, you lapdogs of the elite. Keep trying to sum up this movement in a sound bite. This is a cultural crisis, and you are simply too stupid to understand it. We cannot be frightened by all the king's men, for we are the court jesters. We will consume everything you throw at us, and we will grow from it. This is our Arab Spring, this is our time. Protesters, savor the smell of tear gas, savor the feeling of pepper spray, rejoice to your bruises and your tears. You are our generation's counterculture, you are our martyrs. Clench your fists and grind your teeth. Do not be moved, and you will have fire breathed into you. Smile at the police, ignore the pundits. The worse it gets, the stronger you become. The more hopeless your movement looks, the closer you are to success. You will be written into history, you will be backed up. We will not let your cries go idle, we will not allow your fire to be smothered. We are anonymous, we are legion, we do not forget and we do not forgive. Expect us.
This is truly a time of social, political, and economic revolution. The forward march of history. Like water running down a mountainside, it can't be stopped. In a few years, this world will be a very different place than it is today. And today I tip my hat to the authors, the poets, really, at Anonymous, for speaking to these times so eloquently. Thank you.
All right, very good indeed. You know, there's a lot going on, folks. You need to, just keep watching what's going on. It's strange, There's a very interesting, weird disconnect out there in the world. You watch the mainstream news, and you listen to people talk that have been watching the mainstream news, and they really are kind of out of touch with what's going on out there in these streets. They want to sum it up the way the news does, as if this is all some big conspiracy against the government. And I've actually heard people who are not very wealthy individuals that are defending Wall Street through this. That they're actually defending Wall Street against the protesters. I mean, the media has such a way of spinning things that they can actually take a situation that is hurting the people and spin it in a way that the people that it's hurting will actually cheer for the very thing that's hurting them, because they don't know any better, because they're listening to a station that keeps saying it's the no spin zone, it stops there, or they are fair and balanced. And because they are deceived by these words, they go out and they spread these poisonous words to others as if it's truth. And none of it's truth. It's just lies. It's just lies by corporate media that has investors that are investors into war programs. Do you know that one of Fox News' investors of News Corporation, Ali Ben Tal, I believe is his name, he's a prince, he was one of those individuals who was behind the mosque, supporting the mosque, putting money into that was going on in New York. This same person is also have connections in with the Saudi families, and you can trace his connections back to the 9/11 incident. This is someone who is one of Fox's main investors. Last time I checked, it said he was their fourth largest shareholder. And yet Fox News goes on and listen to what they talk about. This is one of their shareholders, investors, and they're one of the mouthpieces that is keeping the lies going. So if you really take time to look into these stations and what they're all about, you'll start to see behind the scenes are the very reasons why they're telling the lies. They don't want you to know what's going on. They don't want you to know about these uprisings going on in the cities, because then if you actually hear that other people are standing up, you might just step up too. Or you might tell other people that aren't standing up, and they'll stand up. And the government certainly doesn't want that. It's better to keep all the slaves down and not speaking up and talking and in control, rather than out in the streets like they're doing now. So just watch what's going on, but don't put down the protesters, because if you're not out there in the streets, for whatever reason, be glad that they are out there. because they're doing something that you're not able to do at this point in time. And as you look out in the streets, don't take the word of the mainstream media telling you that's one type of people. Go out for yourself and see. You'll see young people. You'll see old people. You'll see people dressed in suits, and you'll see people that are dressed in jeans and t-shirts. You'll see everything in between. You'll see military personnel. From all walks of life, you'll see people that are out there protesting because they are Americans and they are fed up with the system. And the time we're in right now, my friends, is a time of revolution, a time of great change. It's upon us. This is a chance for everybody to step up and do something. Keep the word going. We have a great opportunity with the YouTube, with the social networks that are out there to continue to put this information in the world. And this is the thing that is going to help us, the 99%ers that are out there, really to achieve the success we're going to have. It's because of all these networks. Because you see, a Fox News or a CNN or an MSNBC, what they figure is that their listeners and their viewers are old enough to listen to the show, but too old to really go on the internet to actually check the stories. Whereas the people in these other movements, like the Ron Paul movement, these are all young, computer-savvy individuals who are on the internet, who are studying and learning and finding out all the lies. So there's a big difference in what's going on in the world. Don't get caught up in the magic box just because it's in your house. Pay attention to the internet. Pay attention to what's really going on out there, and you're going to see a different picture. It's quite fascinating when you really see what's going on. Now, the next bit of information I'm going to play for you, this is going back UFO-wise, and it is Alex Collier. It's part one of a special about Alex Collier. It says 2012 UFO Secrets Earth History, Alex Collier Part 1. So let me jump to this, and I think you're going to enjoy the information if you haven't already heard stuff about Alex.
Introduce myself and say hello, and thank you, sir.
Oh, there. Can you see?
Thank you, Rick.
I don't have any pencil or paper.
Okay. Are we ready? We'll go? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alex Collier. I want to thank you all very much for coming. This is a very, very special treat for me. I love these small, intimate settings here, these living room type of things, because I'm very comfortable, and when I'm definitely in my element, I like to talk, okay? And I'm definitely in the mood for a talk fest, as they used to say. The information that I shared this morning, I'm going to go over again briefly, because I went through it so quickly, and some of you weren't there. But essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the 22 races. And the book that will be ready this spring is going to be called Defending Sacred Ground 2, ET 22. Okay? I've been wanting to do this book for 10 years, and now it's time to do it. And the reason it's time is that there's so much going on in our solar system that we all need a scorecard. And I just hope to be able to share the knowledge that's been shared with me as to who these beings are and how they relate specifically to Earth, to us. In a nutshell, we are a composite of a lot of different races, 22 to be exact. It is a physiological fact that there are 22 different body types on the planet. And that is the result of the extraterrestrial races. I cannot share everything that I have in 2 hours because I am sharing the stage tonight with Mike Russ. But I will be around, okay? I'm definitely going to be available. And the information, every couple of weeks, you check the website, the information is going to be put on the website. Okay, so you will have it as soon as it's done and it's proofed and edited. All right? There'll be a hardcover or a bound book version of that, but by then you will already have the information. If it's something that you wanted to purchase at that point to give to friends, it'll be available, okay? But it will be for free nonetheless. Okay. I'm not going to go into how it all started for me. For 13 years I've been telling that story, and I refuse to tell that story anymore. Okay, if you want to know, you can go to the website, www.lettersfromandromeda.com, and all the information's there, including book 1, which you can download for free. I'm doing that for the video, pretty much. Okay. Now, Earth history, we are taught a very, very shallow version of Earth history. We are also taught that we evolved from a single cell, that essentially we were an accident. Okay, all of us are just an accident. And something happened, something really weird, but yet something miraculous happened to a couple of chimpanzees, and ta-da, here we are. Okay? Should it be so simple? In fact, I like the real version much better than the concocted version. Okay? And so what we're going to talk about, what I'm going to start with, is I'm going to start with some of the Earth-taught timelines of history, and I'm going to blow through specific periods and just move it through to prove a point. This will be much more specific in the book. Okay? Earth formation. We're going to start with the Precambrian time, 4.5 billion years ago to 554 million years ago. Earth-taught history. The Earth is forming, along with other planets in the solar system. Earth is being born. Life is awakening. The first tectonic plates are beginning to move. Fungus, plants, animals, and organisms are developing, and the atmosphere is becoming enriched with oxygen. Okay? Extraterrestrial taught history, or I should say Andromedan taught history. An ancient race known as the Founders, who the Andromedans and the Pleiadians believe is an ancient race called the Patal. That's P-A-A-T-A-L. Is on an engineering program whereby environments of planets and terraforming is being done. They are doing this to make these planets and star solar systems suitable and habitable for organisms and for life. Rendering ecosystems that are filled with hydrogen, oxygen, methane, and ammonia. Okay, now take ecosystems, one being oxygen, or some being oxygen, some being methane, some being ammonia, and some being hydrogen. Now these are all gases. For the introduction and colonization of microorganisms, nanites, and all types of life forms. Self-replicating machinery and the bombardment by comets and planetoids to change the rotation and the chemistry of the planets. We'll get to the self-replicating machinery here in a little bit. The practice and engineering of removing moons to alter a planet's rotation and moving planets closer and further from their suns to either decrease or increase radiation received by the planets. Now, I want you to know that that specific engineering feat of moving planets closer and further away from the sun, moving moons, adding moons, is a practice that is absolutely in full swing today throughout the galaxy and in other galaxies. Okay? It is solar system building. This happens a lot. There are races, even the Andromedans are capable of creating a solar system. Okay? All projects, it appears, were designed to render many star systems and many planetary bodies habitable for organic life. Small machines have been discovered that were built so long ago that no one really knows for sure who built them. They cannot be replicated, and no one knows exactly how they were built. Now, I'll give you an example of the Andromedans. The Andromedans are approximately 43 to 4,500 years more advanced than we are technologically. Now, that's in our years, all right? Now, in our years here, I need more leash. Okay, a year for us equals 365 days. Okay, this is one rotation around our sun. The Andromedans count years in a completely different way. In fact, almost all the extraterrestrials do. And their concept of age, of counting, especially in this way, what they consider a year is when every cell in their body has been fully replicated. Now, if we did that, 1 year would be equal to 7 years in our body. Okay, so it takes approximately 34 years for their bodies in our time to replicate every cell in their body in our time. Okay? So it's hard to give you exact dates of when they say something happened to put it into our timeline, okay, of years. Okay? Because in reality, if I say it was 4,000 years ago, then it's a lot longer than that. Okay? But they've had a very hard time explaining to me exactly in our Earth time because they don't deal with the concept of time. You know? They just don't. All right? So, but I'm giving you these numbers in Earth years. Introduce myself and say hello and thank you, sir.
All right, very good. That's Alex for today. That's part one. You can find the rest of it. Just follow the links. FirstContactRadio.com, right-hand side of the page, daily news, and you'll see the story up there. Now, our last story today is going to come to us from NASA. And this is a new video actually speaking about Elenin and Nibiru. So let's see what NASA has to say. Sometimes remember, never a straight answer. That's one of the phrases that NASA, those say that's what NASA means. Now, I know officially it's, not that name, but let's find out how truthful they are at this moment in time.
Hi, my name is David Morrison. I'm a NASA space scientist, and I'd like to talk to you briefly about Comet Elenin. Now, this little comet is nothing special except that you probably know on the internet there's all kinds of wild stories saying that it's going to hurt us or it threatens us or you should be afraid of Comet Elenin. I think you'll realize that that is not true if I take a moment to tell you what a comet is. A comet is a member of the solar system, a very small member, only a mile or two across generally, that spends most of its time far from the sun in the deep freeze of outer space, but whose orbit occasionally brings it in close to the sun. When it gets close to the sun, the heat outgasses material, water vapor, carbon dioxide, dust, and produces a huge, very tenuous cloud, so that you can't even see the little nucleus inside. And this leads to all sorts of misunderstandings that somehow it's growing in size. Well, the gas cloud is, but not the comet. There are also strange stories about its orbit. People say it's changing its orbit, it's changing its speed, it's changing its direction. Well, it stays exactly on its orbit. But in following the orbit around the sun, under the gravitation of the sun, of course, it's constantly changing its speed and direction. It's doing just what it should do. Now, consider this little nucleus, only a mile or two across. We've not had a good look at the nucleus of Comet Elenin, but we have sent spacecraft to comets in the past. The biggest was Comet Halley, photographed here by the European Giotto spacecraft. That's about 10 miles across. One of the smallest is called Hartley, photographed by a NASA spacecraft a year ago. That's only a little over a mile across. These are interesting to astronomers, but they pose no danger to any of us. The most strange claim, and one that's gotten a lot of attention, is that somehow Comet Elenin was responsible for the big earthquake in Japan last March. There's no way a comet could cause an earthquake. In fact, there's no way any celestial object can trigger an earthquake. The Japan earthquake was slippage on a major fault, a boundary between plates that make up the Earth's crust that releases a lot of energy, and this happens repeatedly. In fact, that fault is one of the most active faults on Earth, although this earthquake was exceptionally large. I can assure you the comet had nothing to do with it. Some people say, well, this isn't even a comet. It's something massive. A brown dwarf, perhaps, which would be a small star with 100 times the mass of Jupiter. Well, that's simply impossible. First, the very fact that it has this extended atmosphere and tail shows that it has low gravity. If it were a massive high-gravity object, the gas couldn't escape, and we wouldn't see any of that. If it were a massive object, it would really be screwing around with the orbits of the planets as it came through the inner solar system. But there's been no change in the orbit of Mars, no change in the orbit of the Earth, no influence at all. These are just manufactured fears. Comet Elenin is just the most recent in this phenomenon of people's fear of the cosmos. They're afraid of things that are happening. Of course, the big story is they're afraid of this fictional planet Nibiru that doesn't exist, that's supposed to do damage to us in December of 2012. There's a whole mythology here. And none of it is based on fact. It's all fantasy. It's all wild speculation. And it's a shame that people are afraid of it. Let me just conclude by mentioning the issue of credibility. Some websites say that you can't believe the government or NASA, that we are hiding objects like Nibiru or the brown dwarf with Elenin. And this is just really crazy to a scientist, because we know that the science comes from the academic community. There are very few scientists who work for the government. Most of the telescopes are operated by universities. Even NASA's Hubble telescope is operated by a university team. It's the other way around. The scientists provide the information to NASA, not the reverse. And if you can imagine trying to silence 100,000 astronomers who with their telescopes could be tracking Nibiru or Elenin or any of these fictitious objects, I can tell you, you couldn't keep 6 astronomers quiet with an order from the government, let alone 100,000. There's no conspiracy here. There's no danger from Comet Elenin. There's no danger in 2012. I'm sorry that people get upset by it, but believe me, while there are plenty of real problems in the Earth, they don't come from the sky. Thanks for listening.
All right, there you go. That's the direct word from NASA. Plenty of problems, but they don't come from the sky. Now, what do you think about that? Does that make any sense to you? Are you familiar with the work of Zecharia Sitchin? He talked quite a bit about Nibiru and how it comes around every 3,600 years, and the stories that he got come from cylinder seals left behind by the Sumerian race. So was this just all hogwash? Was this just stories that he made up? Because he's not the only one to talk about this planet, and he's not the only one to find these kind of markings and information in some of the extraterrestrial remnants left behind. I guess time's going to tell on what's really going to happen, but now at least you know what NASA's take on the whole thing is. So if it proves that there is something out there that we do need to pay attention to, then this guy at NASA just wasn't honest with you. And if it turns out that there is nothing out there, well, I guess we'll find out when all is said and done. But for the time being, we seem to be safe, and so far what this gentleman has said has had some validity to it. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I don't trust that NASA is always telling the truth. We've seen instances where we know that they aren't. So I think we're going to have to just take this with a grain of salt and see how it all unfolds. All right. That brings us to our meditation for today. Go ahead and close your eyes. Relax. Alright, let's just imagine that you are floating in a large pond. Now you're just laying there on your back, floating, looking up at the sky, looking up at the blue sky. And as you look up into the sky and you see past the clouds, past the atmosphere into space, imagine that you can see all the way out into the solar system to see the other planets. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Just imagine you can see them all. Imagine that you can see the various bodies of space traveling through. Comets, planets, asteroids, spaceships. There's a lot of movement going on in space. Things we are aware of and many, many more things that we aren't. And just take a moment to send love up to space. Imagine from your heart you're sending green energy from the heart chakra, just sending it up to space. Imagine lights twinkling back, indicating that your love has been received. And that beings out there watching down upon the planet know that there is love down here upon the earth. So imagine all of our chakras are activated. Red at the bottom of your spine, orange at the belly button, yellow just below the rib cage, green at the heart space, blue at the throat, violet at the third eye, and indigo on the top of the head. Let that energy overflow and extend outward so your spiritual armor is turned on. And just imagine this protection extending out to your whole living environment. The room you're in, the house, the home that you're in, the neighborhood, your city, your state, your country, and then across the sea all around the world. Send blessings and protection to all of those protesters who are standing up out there in the world, standing for freedom. For we are all in this together down here on earth. We are all standing up against the same tyrannies. Whether we are in the same country or can speak the same language, it matters not. For we are all here on the same planet. Now, let's just think good thoughts for everybody in the world today, and with that, bring our energy and tension back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. And that is the end of our show, our prayer, and our meditation. A lot of stuff going on. The world doesn't stop, and we keep moving along with whatever it is that keeps us going on a day-to-day basis. You know, I know we're going to get through these times. We've been through a lot of tough times. We're going to continue to get through these. We just need to remember what's really important. The founding fathers of this country, United States of America, well, they set some things in place that are really important. And over the years, well, the principles set forth by the founding fathers have slowly been dismantled by governments and leaders along the way, wanting to gain more power. Because the original Declaration and the Constitution were set up to take power from the government and keep it where it belongs, with the people. Right now, what you're seeing is people standing up in the streets, rising because they are the ones who have the power. Remember, we've got the power. We are the people. There's more of us than there are of them. We keep remembering that. We're going to be all right, my friends. For Dirk Bradshaw, my name's Josh Poet. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow. You have a great, safe day, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.